Everyone, it's 5:30. Thank you for coming. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. for our December 14 meeting. Madam City Clerk Aguilar, can you please take roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Rachel Erismendi.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss.
Here.
Councilmember Edward Garcia.
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Krebs.
Here.
And Councilmember Robert Parkhurst.
Present.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance and Inspiration. Councilmember Parkhurst, it's you.
If you could please stand if you're able. And ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So on Saturday, I attended the opening of Christian Court, the revitalization of that. And then also went up to Lizzie's Trail Inn and the Richardson House and reflected on the history of the city. And as most Sierra Madreans know, the red car line is a core to the city's history. And you may have seen there's a new plaque there in Kirsten Court memorializing it. And so it got me thinking about the red car line, and did a little bit of research, and it has a nexus to this time of year. The first red car arrived to Sierra Madre on January 2nd, 1906. And then the last car departed from the city on December 28th, 1950. So, and many people think that the line ended there at Kirsten Court, and actually I learned on Saturday it didn't, but extended over to east to Mountain Trail to give hikers access to the trail there. So, during this busy Christmas season, as I hope you able to take some time to come down to Kirsten Court to see the Christmas tree and the Nativity, and to read and look at the plaques at the square and reflect on the red car line that's helped make the city as we know it today. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda. And do we have any changes to the agenda as presented? And
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Goss. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item is approval for reading resolutions and ordinances. Vote of the City Council to read all ordinances and resolutions by title only and waive the reading in full. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst, and a second from Councilmember Garcia. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is council report out from closed session. City Attorney Garagosian, if you can report on closed session, please.
Certainly, Mayor. The City Council met in closed session on 2 agenda items. The first agenda item was conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. The name of the case was CETT Investments Corporation versus City of Sierra Madre. There is no reportable action taken. The second item is public employee appointment, and was for the Office of City Manager, and no reportable action was taken.
Great. Thank you, City Attorney Garagosian. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from November 9. Do we have any edits or changes that were submitted, Madam City Clerk?
Madam Mayor, I did not receive emails from any council member with edits to these minutes.
Okay, thank you. Council members, do we have any edits or changes that need to be addressed? Great, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the November 9 minutes as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Krebs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is Mayor and City Council reports. Who would like to report out first?
Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Parkhurst.
So there's, in the month or so since we met, there's been a whole host of meetings of the Planning Commission and the Clean Power Alliance. And they've all had important issues, but there's just one item that I wanted to share with residents, and that is effective March 1st, 2022. our electricity rates through the Clean Power Alliance will decrease 6%.
Wow.
Nice.
And our electricity would be the least expensive option for our residents. So I'm pleased to do that, and I'd like to extend congratulations to the CPA staff for helping to plan and manage costs.
That's fantastic.
March 1/22.
Thank you for your leadership on that, on the CPA board, Councilmember Parkhurst, and that is great news. I mean, when do we get to hear that rates are decreasing? So that's great news to deliver for the holidays. Thank you. Are you done with your reports?
I am done. That's
Okay.
all I had.
Great. Do we have any other reports?
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Garcia.
Yeah, so within the month, I attended a couple events. One was the Southern California Association of Government, the SCAG Economic Summit. That was mainly focused on issues regarding housing affordability, and housing costs, as well as transportation. I also, at your request, I attended the convening of the mayors of the County of Los Angeles. There are 88 cities here in the County of Los Angeles. I think about 20 of us attended. It was very informative. There was a, let's call it a fireside chat with the mayor of LA and our public health official from the county, Dr. Barbara Ferrer, talking about vaccinations, rates of infection, other variants and other issues. Very interesting. The second half was a roundtable type discussion regarding equity and having equity within budgets for city councils.
Great. And thank you for attending that.
My pleasure.
This used to be attended by, I don't know, 50 or 60 mayors, and now we're looking at 20. So, but thank you for representing the
Certainly.
city of Sierra
My pleasure.
Madre. Who else would like to report out?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Creeps?
so yeah, I also attended the grand reopening of Kirsting Court on Saturday, and I just thought it was really great to see members of staff and city commissions and just city residents out to celebrate that, although I would note that pretty much every Saturday people are out there celebrating the grand reopening of Kirsting. I also attended the Senior Commission meeting, and they are so active and just seeming to be almost back at pre-pandemic form in terms of their programming and all of the things that they're doing for the seniors in our town. I don't know how many of you got the chance to attend their concert last Friday in the park. I think it may be the only concert in the park we've had not in the summer, so that was exciting, although I did hear that it was quite cold, so it was good that the music was danceable because people needed to dance to stay warm. And so yeah, they really have a great slate of activities for our seniors coming up, and they're really revving back up, so that was exciting to see.
Very briefly, yeah, the Kirsting Court reopening was amazing. It was well attended. The weather couldn't have been more picture perfect. It was just a beautiful day and a wonderful celebration. And then later that morning, most of us were able to get a tour by the Historical Society up at Lizzie's and at the Richardson House. And what they've done up there is nothing short of amazing. So kudos to everybody in the Historical Society. I want to personally thank Leslie Ziff for the tour. That was really informative. And you had your docent there who was also very informative. It was just a really interesting morning. That's it.
Great, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Goss. Yeah, great events because we haven't met in so long, so there are a lot of things happening in town. I just wanted to add two things that were not mentioned yet, but our new fire engine is almost done. Our Chief Bartlett and Captain Snyder are out there now in Wisconsin checking it out. I will say that our existing engine is almost, I think, 20 years old, but it still looks shiny and bright and nice. But it will be really exciting to be able to get the new engine, and hopefully we'll get that in the beginning of the year. The next item I wanted to share is that if you did not attend the Kirsting Court opening, I'm really excited to announce, and thank you to Oscar Milan for his leadership on it, is that we now have Wi-Fi at Kirsting Court. That's available to the public, very exciting, as we do here in Memorial Park, but now it is now accessible at Kirsting Court. So Hopefully, we can have access to the entire city at some point, but we have 2 of our main community hubs that do have access now. And that concludes my report, and so we can move on to the next item. We have presentations, and I'm not sure who's presenting for the Sierra Madre Rose Float Association, but whoever is, please make your way to the podium and introduce yourself, and we look forward to hearing the update with the Rose Float Association.
I don't see Barbie here.
Barbie Bevington, possibly? No? 6:20. Okay, let's see how we can adjust the agenda. The next item, I believe we don't have to move this one because I do see Commissioner Bob Spears here and former City Clerk Sue Spears here. The dynamic duo, I think, will have different hats today. They'll be presenting on behalf of the Sierra Madre Community Foundation for the Fletcher Fund Foundation and the Mount Wilson Trailhead Gate Project.
Good evening, members of council, staff. About 8 months ago, we were looking at the head of the Mount Wilson Trail, and it was because of COVID, because of bobcat fire, we had put up some chain link fence and it was looking pretty shabby. And a group of us, 5 people, decided that we could probably do better. And so with the help of Karen Moran, who is a local architect, an excellent architect, her husband Jim, who is in construction, Pete Sibrel, our former city clerk, and myself, we began to look at a project to replace what was there with something a little more prestigious. And for the inspiration, Karen looked at the book, The Old Mount Wilson Trail, and I learned a lot in this exercise. One is that we have very, very generous people in town, and the other, we have people that are very obsessed with punctuation. And so if anyone wonders why there is a period at the end of Mount Wilson Trail, it's because it's right here in the book, and you can see it. So we raised a lot of money. The other great thing was that our former city manager met with Pete Sibrel and I and committed the city to carry half the load for the cost of the construction. But we held back and said we want to pay for the signage over the top. So we worked and raised money. We raised enough money for the construction of the gate itself and to pay for the sign. And you notice, if those of you who have been up there, notice that it says "Welcome to Sierra Madre" on the back when you come down the trail. We wanted to put that in. It's a great way to set the tone for people who are coming into town. And we want to call out specifically our appreciation to Chris Cimino for giving us guidance and support and help and making sure that the entire project met city standards, and that it was something that we would all know that would be there for a long time. We were very, very lucky. We had over 150 people donate, 150 donations for this event. It includes local businesses, local civic groups, elected officials, and a lot of residents from town, as well as people who are in the San Gabriel Valley. Because as you all know, that trail is used a lot. And there are a lot of people here, and they've helped in the past to contribute towards the maintenance of the trail, and they were more than willing to contribute for this special project. And we're very, very grateful to the Community Foundation to act as our broker on this, and and we are also very grateful for the city for spotlighting it in the latest edition. So this is very nice, and we're trying to look at maybe incorporating some of the same thing in the next Mount Wilson Trail Race designs, because it's now a fun part of the community. It's something that we could get done without bothering the city government too much. And I have your former city clerk is also a member of the Community Foundation and has some things to say about that.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. About 20 years ago, groups of individuals that really loved Mount Wilson Trail and Bailey Canyon Trail came together and said, we need to maintain those trails because we want to keep them open for the public and also safe for the public, because without rain and erosion and all use, they would become impassable very quickly. So they got together and they said, okay, but if we're going to maintain the trail, it takes supplies, equipment, and other necessary tools to do that. So those group of individuals created the Fletcher Trail Maintenance Fund group, and they partnered with the Sierra Madre Community Foundation. And so we're very grateful that the Sierra Madre Community Foundation serves as the fiduciary agent for that group. And it allows us to get those supplies and equipment that are used by the volunteers who maintain those trails. So thank you very much for that.
So when we got the bid for the contractor to build the gate, it was a total of $46,000, not including the sign. And we agreed with Gabe that we would pay for half of that, and we've raised money. And so who do you think would be the best person to give money to?
Oh!
We have.
It's Christmas, so we're bringing you
Yeah,
money.
This is a true Christmas miracle. The citizens are bringing.
Big checks are always fun, especially with that many zeros. The council, if you would, we can all go up there. I think that would be nice. Yeah, let's go on up.
Everybody look this way. Oh, get everybody in. Three, two, one. Good. Go ahead. We're all smiling.
Big smiles.
1, 2, 3. 1 second. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Back to the west.
Mayor, I brought a real check.
In a gold envelope.
You can actually cash this one.
So we would like to thank the Community Foundation, and we would like to thank the community for getting this done. This was a fun project for us to do, and I think it helps everybody out. So, thank you.
I'm sorry, real quick. And you may already know this, but we've been having so many positive feedback from the community and the users of the trail. It's a really exciting thing for Sierra Madre and our community. And again, I want to personally thank those who donated as well. It's fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. I know I was asked about the period, and I didn't have the answer at the time, but now I do. But it looks fantastic, and thank you so much to both Spears for your leadership on both ends with the Community Foundation and also on the trail. And Bob, we know that you pretty much are a one-man machine maintaining that, so we so appreciate that. Thank you so much. Please extend our thanks to Pete Sibrel and Frank Moore also. I was hoping they could make it out, but I know that they couldn't make it today. But again, appreciate that. And I know I have a lot of Mount Wilson Trail gear because I know it went to the Fletcher Fund, so I'm happy to see how it's been used. So thank you so much. The next item we have is the presentation of proclamation in recognition of United Against Hate Week. This is a little belated and late. Actually, the County of LA had a November 14th through November 20th was LA County versus Hate, United Against Hate Week. And there were a lot of things that were going on around the county, and they had asked all of the cities if they would do something in recognition of the week. And again, because by the time they asked it and our meeting agenda was already out, I still wanted to take the time to recognize the week itself. And I'll just quickly read it. It's whereas the United States is a nation of immigrants whose strength comes from its diversity, and whereas the Constitution enshrines equality on all individuals, regardless of race, gender, orientation, religion, or political views. And whereas the City of Sierra Madre is dedicated to preventing and opposing hate and intolerance in our communities, the City Council endorses a resolution in support of LA versus Hate United Against Hate Week 2021 and city activities to stop hate, intolerance, bullying, and promote safe, inclusive, and equitable neighborhoods. And whereas education, compassion, and cooperation are key to unlocking understanding and embracing differences between people, and whereas we seek to join other communities in California and cities across this county in this second annual LA versus Hate United Against Hate Week as an important step in bridging divisions and strengthening our communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council for the City of Sierra Madre hereby declares its support for the week, activities in the county through November 14, November 20, 2021, and each and every day beyond. Presented this 13th day of December 2021 by Sierra Madre City Council Mayor Rachel Erismendi, Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss, and Council Members Edward Garcia, Kelly Creeps, and Robert Parkhurst. So, although it's not within the week, I think it's still important to recognize it. So that's the proclamation, and we will keep this on hand and let the county know that we participated in that week. I don't believe we have our Rose Float Association presenter here yet. Seeing not, we'll go ahead and move that towards the end of the agenda. So we'll go ahead and move into public comment, and this is a time where the public can comment on any item not on the agenda. And if your item that you'd like to comment on is on the agenda, please hold until that time, but this is the time available to comment on any items not on the agenda. You can make your way to the podium and you'll have 3 minutes to comment, and we have our timer right here, so please make your way down. Cards.
Mayor and council members, my name is Leslie Ziff, and I am 229 North Baldwin, and I am here to represent the One Book, One City group that I am a member of, and we are going to have the One Book, One City for February, this coming February, and the brochure will be out probably by next month to tell you about all the different things that are going on. The book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and he says the only way to learn is to live. And that's exactly what this book is about. Have you ever thought, what if I went on this road instead of that one? What if I chose this instead of that? And that's what this book is about. So in February, we're going to create events that are actually going to make you make choices. So some of these events are going to be a speaker, Rich Proctor, is going to be talking about the healing power of stories. And then we have an event with interactive storytellers. And we have an interactive adventure event where at the library we're going to have different speakers from different professions. And you're going to choose which speaker you would like to go to at a certain time and learn what if you had become the famous singer or the artist, or, you know, what if? So these are experiences that the people that attend this event will be able to listen to these people and think about, what if they had done that? Or what if maybe your children will choose to do that? Things to think about. And then, of course, there's the Third Thursday Book Club. And all month, they're going to have a wishing well so that you can put your wishes at the library into the wishing well and maybe have some sharing of those ideas. So, oh, I forgot my hat. Darn. Hold on a minute.
We'll put a pause on your time, Miss Ziff.
So this was my hat for the imaginary wish. What if I was a magician type of a thing? So that was my hat for One Book, One City. Now I'm going to change hats. And I'm representing the museums, the old-time hats. of the museums. First of all, I want to thank all of you, the council people, attending the open house on Saturday. You touched my heart that you all were able to come. We are going to have a second open house this coming Saturday from 10 to 12. We're going to have historical figures there to tell the history of Lizzie's, the Richardson House, and all the area that's around Mount Wilson. Who was Wilson? Come and find out who that was. We're Saturday, 10 to 12, 167 East Miramonte. It blows me away that people that live here do not know that we have 2 historical museums. And so come and find out what our Sierra Madre historical museums are all about. They're unique. They're some of the only museums in California that are what they were. So this is a very treasured thing that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ziff. Since you wore 2 hats, I let you go a little bit longer, like literally, figuratively, in all ways. And I will say that I am an overachiever, and I got my book read, and I really enjoyed the book, so hopefully others will read it also. Ms. Pevsner, are we here on behalf of the Rose Float Oh, no, you are, okay.
That one might be, but I'm not.
You're here for public comment.
I am. I'm actually here representing the Sierra Madre Community Foundation. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Sharon Pesner. I'm chairperson of the Sierra Madre Community Foundation Special Event Committee. So I am here with some of the other community members, and we're here to let you know about our exciting event that's coming up, and I know everybody wants to know about this. I'm excited to announce that the Sierra Madre Community Foundation is once again sponsoring its whiskey and wine event in 2022 to raise money to allow the Sierra Madre Community Foundation to award grants to local organizations. Our whiskey and wine event will be held on Saturday, February 5th, 2022 from 6:30 to 9:30 at Mia Italia, Sierra Madre's premier historical residence. For people who don't know, the Sierra Madre Community Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to maintain Sierra Madre's local charm and sense of community by supporting Sierra Madre's local activities, events, organizations, and special projects. Online ticket sales are coming. They will soon be announced on the Sierra Madre Community Foundation's website. Those interested in buying are encouraged to check our website. This event will sell out. I will tell you that when we did this, I think it was in 2020, it was our first annual event. Not only did it sell out, people were talking about this for weeks on end. And I know that you were there. A lot of you were there, actually. We won't name names. Online ticket sales will be $75 per person in advance and can be completed using a credit card or PayPal. This year, we will have 16 brands of fine whiskey, 6 different kinds of wines, 3 reds, 3 whites served, along with hors d'oeuvres and dessert. We will also be conducting a silent auction of very high-end whiskey, and some really cool other items as well. We can't tell you about those yet. Additionally, we'll also have the lottery ticket raffle board, which was a favorite the last time we were there. You remember that? As a reminder, this event is only for adults ages 21 and older, and it's important to remember that proof of COVID-19 vaccine or a recent negative COVID test may be required per the directives of the LA Public Health Department in effect on the day of the event, so that's subject to change, as we all know. The public's cordially invited to attend this truly unique and special event in what will be a fun evening. Be sure to buy your tickets online early by checking our website. We're also on social media. We are on Facebook and on Instagram. You can find us there, and we hope to see you all there. That's it.
And that means everybody here is invited, okay?
Yes.
So look for the
Thank
invites.
you.
Thank you. And that is a wonderful event, so I'm glad it's looking the same way as it did in 2020. Thank you.
It's going to be fun. Thank you.
I know some folks did complete comment cards also, and if you want to make your way down, Madam City Clerk is tracking that, or if you'd like her to announce the next card, we can do that too. Looks like Mr. Gordon's looking around for whether he should be next.
Somebody's left their spectacles here.
Oh,
I don't know whether this is the right time to do it because there's an item called Presentation to Mayor Rachel Erismendi. Is there public comment after that? If not, I'd like to comment now.
Oh, no, there's not public comment. I don't think we're having public comment on that.
I'd like
but
to
that
publicly comment about the mayor.
Oh,
say-
okay. Do I want to allow for it, Mr. Gordon?
More than 3 minutes. I just wanted to say a word of thanks, Mayor Erismendi. I come to quite a few council meetings and I have therefore seen you in action. And I think that you have performed admirably, and I think that the community owes you a debt of gratitude for keeping things on a very even keel and in an increasingly polarized political atmosphere to maintain a discussion that's been civil and orderly and constructive. So for your public duties, I'd like to express my sincere thanks. On a personal note, you also came to an event that meant a great deal to me, for which you prepared and were so eloquent, and I'm so grateful for that too. So thank you very much indeed, Mayor Erismendi.
Thank you for the kind words, Mr. Gordon. Okay, do we have any other comment cards, spectacles to pick up?
Madam Mayor, we received,
Is this Caitlin Holm?
go ahead.
Okay. So hi, my name is Caitlin Holm and I live at 305 Ramona. Today I'm here to talk to you about the wisteria vine in the house at 505 North Hermosa. But first, a little bit about me. I'm a child of Sierra Madre. I've lived in Sierra Madre for over 27 years. I grew up here, went to school here, and most importantly, I vote here. I have voted in every single local city election since I turned 18. And more importantly, I'm a homeowner. I just bought my first house in Sierra Madre. When I bought my 1884 house, and its historic nature was made clear to me by the realtor, the homeowners, the neighbors, and the city. That being said, I think it's important that you listen to me when I talk about the wisteria vine, because I'm the new generation of Sierra Madre homeowners. I'm invested in this town, I'm passionate, and I'm proud, and I vote. And I voted for many of you here. So, as many of you know, the wisteria house at 505 North Hermosa was purchased in March of this past year, and the homeowner has filed for city approval to undergo massive renovations detailing their intentions of removing an additional 25% of the vine from the property. I've spoken at the city planning meeting already and asked them to deny the destruction permit as it currently stands. At the city planning committee, they noted that in order to save the vine, municipal action was needed from you, the city council. The wisteria vine is not just a plant. It's a symbol of our strength and of our community. It holds pride of place on the city seal. It lends our name to our city's nom de plume, the Wisteria City. It beckons and reminds us of our past, our heritage, and our home in the foothills in a way that no other landmark in Sierra Madre does. The citizens of Sierra Madre know exactly which plant I'm talking about when I say the wisteria vine. It is the wisteria vine. It is not a wisteria vine. And in fact, it's been called the wisteria vine since 1918, over 103 years ago. In fact, I challenge you to Google the words wisteria vine, and the very first result is for Sierra Madre. Between 1906 and 1999, the Sierra Madre News published over 4,000 newspapers. In those 4,700 newspapers, there are stories that are told of Lizzie's, the Pegler House, Memorial Park, the Playhouse, and the wisteria vine is mentioned over 3,700 times, more than any other landmark. The wisteria vine is mentioned more often than Memorial Park, and in fact is also mentioned 286 times more often than the city council. So I'd argue that the significance of the wisteria vine transcends the transient whims of a single homeowner. I recommend, there's 4 options moving forward. I know your hands are a little bit tied, and I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can. 4 options moving forward are to enact landmark status for the vine, so similar to the way that some of the sequoias are protected. Individual sequoia trees are protected through the state of California through this. Signing a covenant, so that way any homeowners who do purchase a property understand the Wisteria Vine Festival that we have each year. This is similar with the houses that are purchased on Christmas Tree Lane and in Hastings Ranch. The other option is to reinstate the Tree Commission. Ticket sales from the Wisteria Vine event can be used to offset some of the Tree Commission, or to conduct annual and regular maintenance and assessment of the vine, which could have presented the issue of the shot hole borer that the owner now says is the reason why she's had to prune the vine. So I'd ask the City Council to consider the long-term ramifications of the proposal from the homeowner. Your job as City Council members is to protect our city and its citizens, and So I challenge you to give the planning committee the tools to deny the demolition permit and to preserve the vine and designate it with protected status. So our ability to maintain and honor our past as well as grow and nurture our future. The wisteria vine is a cultural icon and a symbol of our resiliency and our ability to come together as a neighborhood to respect the nature of this place that we call home. So I implore you to please preserve the vine and protect the roots of our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Caitlin. Do we have either another speaker card or someone else that would like to come down to the podium?
Madam Mayor, we received a speaker card for Jeannie Holm.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor and honorable members of the council. I'm here really quickly just on behalf of the fire department to invite you all and all of our residents to a couple events we have coming up this weekend. We have our annual Santa meet and greet, and we're bringing back our beloved Santa parade that went so well last year. So we're going to have a parade from 5:30 to roughly 6:30, and then our traditional meet and greet pictures from 6:30 to 8:30. Our firefighters will also be there to give out hot chocolate and nice little goodie bags for all the kids that stop by. And then on Saturday, we're partnering with the Heads Up Youth Foundation, and we are hosting a Christmas toy drive. And along with the toy collection, we'll also be having a lot of great family activities like a petting zoo, a balloon artist, and we're even going to be having a snowball fight with the firefighters.
Oh,
So we would love to see you all there, so please come by if you're able to. Thank you.
I think you had us at Snowball Fight.
So that's
Saturday.
It's starting at 5:30, right?
Yes, and then 6:30 is the Santa visit and the hot cocoa.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah.
the previous, and this is, I think, is to Annalise Carlson. Is there anything that we have in the municipal code that protects the vine? I know we've got like tree ordinances on that, but it's not clear to me if there's anything that we've got in statute or in ordinance that protects it.
Sure, as you can imagine, when this topic came up, we scoured our code to try to take a look. We reviewed our definitions with the city attorney. The tree protection code really applies to trees. We don't see the nexus to the vine. She mentioned restarting the tree commission, and just want to make sure that everybody knows that the tasks of the tree commission are now with the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Commission.
And thank you, Annalise Carlson. And we do have some development since then, so I'm going to hold off on any more discussion on it so that we can get briefed on the new updates.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Madam City Clerk, I think you had another card for a speaker?
We did receive one additional speaker card from Jeannie Holm.
Is Jeannie Holm here? Okay, seeing none. Do we have any other cards? Oh. I forgot to fill out a card. I got here late. I thought you started. Mr. Aarons, please come on up to the podium. And as he's coming up, Madam City Clerk, did we get any emails for public comment?
Madam Mayor, we did not receive any public comment cards, or public comment emails on any topic on the agenda.
Great, thank you.
I thought in the local newspaper, when its council meeting was mentioned, that they normally put the time. But I went back and looked, and there's nothing in there to indicate the time of the council meetings. And they announced that there's gonna be a council meeting, but not what time. So I don't know who can communicate with them on that. But I wanted to ask if you guys have made any progress on the proposal I submitted way back in June.
Thank you, Mr. Aarons. And at this time, we have not agendized it, and we will make note also about the 5:30 time that should be in the newspaper, but I also think it's in the Vine, but we'll make sure that the time is noted to make sure that folks know. And so, and maybe if you can speak offline to either City Manager Reynoso or to the new mayor, you might be able to follow up on the item that you're requesting.
I missed part of that. What do you want me to do?
To either follow up with City Manager Reynoso or the new mayor After tonight, we'll have a new mayor, and so you can follow up with either one of them to determine as to if and when the agenda item will be on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it looks like we can go back to presentations. Do we have our Sierra Madre Float Association folks here? Not yet. Okay. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and move on. We have no other public comments, so we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Madam City Clerk Aguilar, if you can report on the consent items for our action item portion of the agenda, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. On this evening's agenda, the City Council is being asked to consider 4 consent items. Consent item A is the consideration of Resolution 21-67, approving certain demands, and it is recommended that the City Council ratify payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $262,998.66, Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $4,023.73, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $443,477.04. Consent item B is the consideration of Resolution 21-69, approving certain demands, and it is recommended that the City Council approve payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $319,821.38, Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $5,495.54, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $820,768.23 for the fiscal years on both ending June 30, 2022. Consent item C is a consideration of the Second Amendment to Settlement Agreement and release related to 1 Carter Stonegate litigation, and it is recommended that the City Council approve the Second Amendment to Settlement Agreement and release related to the 1 Carter Stonegate litigation. And finally, consent item D is the acceptance of an anonymous donation to the Sierra Madre Police and Fire Departments, and it is recommended that the City Council ratify the city's acceptance of $200,000 by an anonymous donation and approve this by minute order. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk Aguilar. Do we have any questions on any item on the consent calendar before opening this up for public comment? Any questions?
Madam Mayor? It might be nice, I don't know if City Attorney might just give a couple of words about the nature of the Second Amendment so folks who aren't familiar know what the effect of it is.
Certainly, Councilmember Creeps. So the city and the developer at the 1 Carter Stonegate property, the developer's name is CETT Investment Corporation. The CETT initiated a lawsuit against the city back in 2016 due to the denial of a number of permits that they had, a number of development applications that they had submitted to the City Council that were later denied. In order to resolve that litigation, the parties entered into a settlement agreement. The settlement agreement required that complete applications be submitted by a specific deadline. Those applications weren't complete by the deadline, so the City Council extended that deadline the first time with the first amendment, and now the City Council is contemplating extending that deadline again to 2023 with the second amendment. The extension of the deadline simply means that the developer will not be able to develop until they submit a complete development application. Once that complete application is submitted, that project will go before the Planning Commission for design review, subject to the terms and conditions of the settlement agreement.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a follow-up?
Mm-hmm.
In the agreement, the development requirements, how does that compare to the city ordinances, particularly in the hillside management zone?
So as you noted, the development is located in the hillside development zone, the hillside management zone, and any property that's located in the hillside area is going to be subject to the hillside requirements, not the R1 requirements, but the hillside requirements under our municipal code. The settlement agreement itself has specific specific development standards that don't exist, that are actually stricter than what currently exists under our municipal code. So it's to the city's benefit to maintain the settlement agreement to the extent that it limits the size and massing of the development.
Okay, any other questions on that item or any other agenda item under consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, we'll open this up for public comment. If you'd like to comment on any item on the consent calendar, please make your way to the podium.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank this donor for this wonderful and generous donation. It is absolutely incredible, and the men and women of the Sierra Madre Police Department as well as the fire department want them to know this will not go unappreciated. We're going to use this to the betterment of not just our agency, but more importantly, our personnel. I've spoken with Chief Bartlett, and we're both talking about instituting a wellness program so that, you know, we can ensure our firefighters and our police officers are healthy. We're also looking at both improving our vehicle situation. So this is going to be a really good thing. And if you're in the audience or watching, we really want you to know we appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
Madam Mayor, Honor, council members. Along with Chief Bartlett and myself with the fire department, I'd like to also thank the donation as well. The plan for our portion of the donation is also to continue the outfit of the new engine that we'll receive earlier next year. They also know the plan is to utilize it to build and construct a utility vehicle, which essentially is a pickup truck to help with supplies to and from where we need. Also with the out-of-county units we have, it'll be easy for crew swaps when they're up in Northern California or other areas of the state. And also anything left over would go into new handheld radios. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments for consent items? Okay, so we'll bring it back to council, and I'll just jump in and say it really was such a surprise that we not just received this anonymous donation this year, but this is also a donation we received last year. And at a time, you know, during COVID and after visiting the fire station, I think a week ago, and seeing that some of our supplies and our equipment really need to be replaced, it's very timely. So to our anonymous donor, again, if you are watching today, we're extremely grateful and thank you so much. Any other comments?
Can I comment real
Yeah,
quick?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, whomever you are, thank you. And I just think it's a testament to our public safety here in the city, that we are, our guys and gals, our firefighters, our police officers are thought of in this way. I think it's an amazing testament to you all.
Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Councilmember Krebs, thank you for the first motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Parkhurst, thank you for the second. Do we have further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Are we ready? I wasn't sure if I should move into discussion items, so we will go back to the presentation. So our Sierra Madre Rose Float Association will be presenting. If they can just make their way to the podium, please. And I will just say I had the pleasure of meeting our princesses and ambassador during our winter festival. We took many photos together and rode the engine, and it's great to see you all again.
Thank you. Well, good evening. I'm Evelyn Schaefer from the Rose Float Association, and it is my pleasure to introduce our Royal Court tonight. But before I do that, I want to thank all of you on the council and all of our community for the support that you show the Rose Float Association. Thank you so much, and we hope to have a wonderful float to share with you, and these young ladies will be doing that. So first we have Princess Julia Pevsner, and then we have Ambassador Alex Spalansky, and then Princess Abkhazia.
Good evening. It is very exciting that the Rose Parade will return again this year. After missing last year, we are so happy that the 2022 parade will take place again on New Year's Day. This year's theme, Dream, Believe, Achieve, seems especially appropriate as we all believe in an even better future. This theme, chosen by tournament president Robert Miller, is also intended to remind us the importance of education, because education is the best bridge between dreams and future successes. The Sierra Madre Rose Float Association float, entitled Nature's Classroom, celebrates the many ways education impacts our dreams and our lives. Designed by award-winning designer Jason Redfox, this playful classroom stars two beautiful toucans who dazzle the bold student explorers, that's us, as they experience the wonders of a field trip to an endangered Amazon rainforest. If you listen closely to the music composed by association member James Dyer, you can hear the toucan calls written into the melody. On the front of the float, you will see our journal where pictures of other amazing animals remind us all about the importance of conservation and the protection of our environment to all who will follow us.
And before we have our ambassador go, I'm going to ask manager analyst Carlson, can you move this so that we can see it on the screen, maybe on the, I guess that would be on the right side of the podium, please? So folks on TV can see it. Thank you. There you go. There you go. Great. Thanks. And then we'll turn around to the audience in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This year marks the 90th year that the city of Sierra Madre will be represented in the Rose Parade. Isn't that amazing? Our float is built by our all-volunteer organization, and we work hard year-round to create such beautiful floats. We may be the smallest city to enter a float in the parade, but this year, our float is big. Measuring 48 feet long, 28 feet high, and 22 feet wide, it'll stretch the limits of Colorado Boulevard. As always, because all floats have to lower themselves under a freeway bridge that is 16 feet 6 inches high, all the tall elements will gracefully fold down thanks to powerful hydraulics into the surface. And this classroom is lively. The toucans will turn their heads, responding to crowd reaction as they are operated by a joystick. Their neck design and movement is very innovative and designed by our own head of construction, Dick Sappington. The lizards will raise up and down, and the 5 butterflies will flutter their wings. Rounding out this animal-filled classroom are 3 frogs who watch from the lush center of the float. Well, and us! Don't forget us. We will be there dressed in adventure-ready gear, so we will be prepared no matter what the weather on New Year's Day.
Thank you.
Nature's Classroom is of course full of flowers. Thankfully, all Rose Parade floats are required to be entirely covered in organic material, so this float will be lush. On the deck alone, there will be over 12,000 orange roses. In the gully with the frogs are ferns and greens, including striped calathea, bird nest fern, sword fern, monstera leaves, that all actually grow in the Amazon. Adding to the beautiful greens are a host of orchids and tropical flowers, including yellow oncidium orchids, purple vanda orchids, hot pink macara orchids, white, pink, and green large anthurium, shampoo ginger, parakeet heliconia, and green hydrangea. The giant toucans will be covered in black tea leaves, Chinese black moss, nigella, dried bachelor buttons, lime and orange rind, seaweed, and carnations. Quite a mouthful, and there are many, many, many more flowers that you will have to see in person to believe. And we certainly hope you will. A float this large and full of lush tropical greenery requires the decorating work of many volunteers. We are pleased to be inviting fully vaccinated volunteers to join us in person during Deco Week, which runs from December 26th to 31st. As one of the 6 floats that are built and decorated entirely by volunteers, we know our success is thanks to everyone in the community who supports us in so many ways. A special thank you to Attitude Dress Shop here in Sierra Madre for our dresses. Thank you for having us here, and we look forward to waving to you on New Year's Day.
Thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, can we just show the audience also the, whether it's, oh, thank you, Alice Carlson. And thank you for that presentation. To see the biggest float that will be on Colorado Boulevard. Absolutely. And hopefully all of you heard that there is an invitation to volunteer. So look forward to, I know people come not just from all over the valley, not over just the county. People have come from different states, I know, in past years. And you don't always get to put the flowers on because that takes some expertise, but there's still so much work that has to be done on those floats, and it's so detailed. So thank you so much, Rose Float Association, our princesses ambassadors, for sharing today. Okay, our next item on the agenda is for discussion, and I believe Finance Director Gorilla Leone will be presenting on the consideration of the ARPA plan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. The City of Sierra Madre was allocated $2.5 million in American Rescue Plan Act funding, also known as ARPA. At the last meeting, staff presented a draft expenditure plan, and City Council directed staff to prioritize nonprofit grants and premium pay for consideration. The expenditure plan for the remaining ARPA allocation will be brought back to City Council for consideration in February 2022. So the first program for approval is premium pay for eligible employees. Since the beginning of the pandemic, city staff across the entire organization adapted quickly to rapidly changing circumstances and continue to provide city services. The city considers all city departments to be critical infrastructure sectors. With a city the size of Sierra Madre, every employee gets involved in emergency response and fulfills a critical role. Regardless of the employee's pay or position, every city employee worked the front line throughout the pandemic. Within the provisions of ARPA funding, staff is recommending a one-time premium pay to all eligible full-time and part-time staff of $2,000 per employee. There are additional eligibility requirements related to the minimum hours worked during the specified time period. The next program for approval today is the nonprofit grant program. Per Treasury guidance, the ARPA funds can be used to provide grants to mitigate financial hardships as a result of the pandemic. As a continuous effort of the Sierra Madre Cares Initiative, staff recommends City Council appropriate funding in the amount of $120,000 for the nonprofit grants program. The purpose of this program is to provide immediate financial support to organizations that have experienced financial hardship. In an effort to be equitable, the grants would be awarded through an application process, and the applicants must describe the impact of COVID-19 on their finances and be able to support documentation for audit purposes. The application process will open starting January 2022. Applications will be reviewed by administrative department, similar to the small business grants program. So today, staff is recommending the approval of Resolution 2168 to accept the first tranche of the ARPA funding and allocate $308,000 for eligible programs. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Gorilla Leone. Do we have any questions for her?
Madam Mayor? Oh, go
Councilmember
ahead.
Parkhurst?
Oh, please.
I'll defer to you, please.
Mayor.
You're too kind. So first, before I ask a question, congratulations on getting the city another award for the our budget. That's fantastic. We're lucky to have you here. I have two questions. The first, it says that there are 16 employees that would not be getting the hero pay. Can you tell us kind of the nature of those employees? Like, I don't want names, of course, but it kind of what role they have and why they'd be excluded from that, or are they excluded?
Those employees are not excluded except for the city manager. The only guidance in ARPA is that it shouldn't exceed 150% of the state or county average. And we calculated that to be 16 employees that would fall under that. But Treasury doesn't disallow it. They just ask for extra justification. And our justification is that with a city our size, regardless of the position or pay, everybody was working here in the front lines during the pandemic.
Okay, great. And then there was the amount that we're giving to nonprofits for this. How does that compare to when we were doing it for businesses during the pandemic? What's the difference in the maximum allowable amount?
I believe the maximum amount in all 3 rounds in aggregate for one business was about 20,000.
So it's 20,000. It was for the businesses downtown, and it's also 20,000. So the same rules apply for businesses as they do for nonprofits. Is that right?
Yes, we used it as a base for our.
Right. Thank you. No further questions.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Just following that up, that's not a hard and fast rule, right? My understanding was it was a model that you guys kind of used. The business was a model you used to kind of come up with this, right?
Yes, it was a model. I didn't see anything on the guidance that said a maximum.
20, it could be more or less.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I also had a question. How many fire department staff do we have?
Fire is about 17 FTE.
Okay, and then police?
About 23.
Thanks. And is that including the chiefs?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go ahead and open this up for public comment. Thank you so much for the report. Do we have anyone that would like to comment on this item?
David Gordon, representing the not-for-profit called the Sierra Madre Playhouse. I'm somewhat disappointed. At the last meeting, the figure that was allocated to not-for-profits was $200,000. It's now been reduced by 40% to $120,000. And there is a proposal to have a maximum of $20,000 per not-for-profit. There aren't actually very many significant not-for-profits in Sierra Madre. I think there are quite a number, but most of them are very small. And some of the larger ones, I don't think, would have suffered from COVID. I think the largest not-for-profit that I have found in my research is Search and Rescue. And I'm not sure how they would have been affected by COVID. Another very large one is the cemetery. And I'm not sure how that would have been affected by COVID. So what I'm concerned about is that if you have a limit of 20,000, you may find an excellent prospect, such as, for example, the Sierra Madre Playhouse, and want to grant it more like 50,000 and be limited by a fairly arbitrary 20,000 limit. So I would suggest that the arbitrary limit be removed, just in case the pattern of donations to the not-for-profit would be unbalanced by trying to give lots of people small sums of money, whereas 1 or 2 not-for-profits may justify a large sum. May not be a good allocation of capital. The position of the Playhouse is that we've been devastated by by COVID. We have been successful in getting some COVID grants. Our main worry, of course, is that the audience won't come back. And with Omicron around, there is a significant danger of that. One of the things that we had planned to do to mitigate it is to review our air handling, ventilation, air conditioning plants. And we were working on an old estimate that it would cost about $100,000 to do that. We've now had a detailed estimate, and surprise, surprise, the cost will be more like $300,000, which is devastating for us. So we are in need of a major capital infusion. Actually, even if we got all the $120,000, that wouldn't do it. So I think what I'm saying is, could we please have as much as possible? And then I think I'll be coming back in another forum to see whether there's some way of the city supporting the Playhouse's capital position. It's a community asset, it's a not-for-profit, it's not owned by anybody. And not-for-profit, in the case of the Playhouse, is a very apt description of its financial predicament. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Do you have anyone else that would like to comment on this item? Seeing none, we can bring it back for discussion with council. And I'll jump in. One thing I was thinking about is, as we're looking at premium pay, I thought it was very important that all staff were recognized, because all staff did work, and they continue to provide services. We're very proud of the fact that we did not lay off any staff. And at the same time, I do want to recognize it was extremely challenging for our public safety, both fire and our police, and I would like to recommend an increase on top of the 2,000 that's being recommended. It may not be much, but I would like to recommend additional 500 for the additional 40 staff. And then, for those of you that don't know, both police and fire had to group themselves in, I don't know if it was A, B, or C teams. But if one person from one of the teams is exposed to COVID or actually contracted COVID, obviously there's a period of time that entire team couldn't work. And so we'd have the other teams that were working back to back, and we're doing a lot of extra shifts. And so it was extremely challenging. And again, I thought it was very important for us to recognize our entire team, but I would like to propose to my colleagues that we consider an additional dollar amount for our fire and police, and that would come to an additional 20,000. And then I also would like to include our city manager as part of that. I know he's excluded, but the fact of the matter is, half the time he was the utilities director, and then half the time he was still city manager. And I appreciate him taking himself out of the equation, but I think it's important, even just in gesture, to recognize the work that the city manager did during that time. Oh, on top of that too, I'm definitely open to considering more for the nonprofit if we want to increase either the cap and/or another 30,000. And again, I know it's not much, but during this time it was really hard for our nonprofits. So that would be an additional, if my calculations are correct, 50,000, and we'd have still a remaining ARPA dollars at about 2.23 million.
Can you just summarize that? So it's 20,000 for the hero pay and 50,000? What was the part for the?
I was just saying another 30,000 for the nonprofit grant, and to raise the limit from 20 to 25. But see, and I kind of go back and forth with that, because, and especially the way I was reading the report, there were some cities that considered a range for nonprofits, and so it wasn't that a flat dollar amount, and we're proposing here 20,000 for each applicant. And again, I don't have this, I don't have a formula, but in my opinion, there are some nonprofits that might be on a higher end that require more, and some at the lower end. But since I don't have that formula here, I would recommend that we increase at least the total allocation, and then increase the threshold and consideration for a different formula for smaller nonprofits.
Madam Mayor? Oh, go ahead.
Councilmember Creeps, go ahead.
I'm thinking along the same lines as you with respect to the nonprofit grant program. I think I would be in favor of increasing the total amount available. Certainly, perhaps even back to the 200,000 we were speaking about at the last meeting. I'm wondering with the per grant guidance, if instead of, if we raised it higher, I still think that the applicants have to justify.
Sure.
In fact, under the ARPA guidelines, they have to actually draw a straight line between lost, I think it's revenue. So it seems to me that the limitation is rather arbitrary, and we could set it pretty high and then have it be discretionary based on need, and not be, put a max on it, but have the max pretty high, $30,000 to $50,000, and then it could be adjusted based on, the smaller nonprofits wouldn't be able to actually probably justify the full amount, and then allow staff to then, be appropriate in terms of their allocation. And then I think also, just to highlight, if in the first round we don't actually give out the full amount, we'll have a second round, and I assume that people who got, or organizations that got grants in the first round would be eligible to apply again, as it was with the businesses.
That's a good point. Thank you. Councilmember Creeps. Any other, Councilmember Garcia?
Yeah, so I think Councilmember Creeds took a lot of my thoughts straight out of my mind there. Yeah, I agree. I think the 200,000 for the nonprofit should be looked at again. As we think about, first of all, if we think about the American Recovery Act, the Arpa Act, there's only 4 or 5 categories of what these monies can go to, and one of them is to city employees and one is to nonprofits. So we're looking at, I don't know, I don't have the language in front of me, but either 2/5 or half of what it was supposed to be allocated for anyhow. And as we know, especially in a city like Sierra Madre, we have a lot of charities and organizations in town that pour back into the city. Not only funds and partner with the government, city government, in order to make things happen, but also there are other types of organizations that help the intangibles of what makes Sierra Madre so charming. So it would be a shame to lose any of them when this is their time of need and there are funds that are available for them. So I agree that we should take another look at the dollar amount, the gross dollar amount, and also the limit on per organization. And I'm also of a like mind of that we ought to consider having possibly a short window for round 1. And then if there's funds left over, they can then reapply for extra funds. I think that would be a good model. A little more work for our finance department, I'm sorry, but I think it's something that we ought to look into. And as far as the hero pay, yes, I'm leaning towards agreeing with you, Madam Mayor, but I also think about other employees that were running around fixing potholes and leaks, and it might become a slippery slope of where to stop. But public safety, obviously, and our fire, we know that they're running 2 platoons instead of 3, and that was a huge drain on them and their families. And we so appreciate what they did, both fire and police, for us during that time.
Okay, and really quickly, Councilmember Garcia, do you have a dollar amount you have in mind for the nonprofit grant program? Did I hear 200,000?
Yeah, I think we discussed 200,000. I think the council was of like mind during our discussion previously that was an acceptable figure for the program.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem. I do agree with you about the hero pay, absolutely. I do think that Councilmember Creeves and Councilmember Garcia are absolutely right. The threshold should be put back up to 200,000. I do want to see the individual cap up significantly. I'd like to see it go at least to 50,000. And I think you're absolutely right. I think we could use that as a discretionary threshold. And that means the smaller groups that don't have the ability to justify that kind of grant wouldn't be getting it, but we probably do. And I think the Playhouse is probably one of those organizations that probably could benefit from that, given the tremendous price they paid from COVID.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Parkhurst?
So, yeah, I agree with others on this. I think bringing up bringing up for fire to increase the amount for them, bringing up the amount for nonprofits to 200,000 and the cap to 50. I think that all makes sense. So I'm in agreement with all of that. The one things that made me think about this is we're thinking about the police and the fire. Do we know, I don't know if City Manager, if you know what the impact was to the search and rescue team with the Bobcat fire? Were they pulled into that? Did they have a role in that? I'd be curious to know if they were impacted by COVID and the fire. And I know that the fire is not related to the hero pay, but that just added on top of a strain on resources at a tough time.
Yes, Councilmember Parker, excuse me. There's been no communication from Search and Rescue to me on the impacts of COVID, but we can definitely look into it.
Okay. I would support staff going forward with the program. It's been clearly laid out. We've got some history with it, with doing it for the businesses. So I trust the decisions of staff on it, and I support the increases in amounts.
So I'm hearing some consensus around nonprofit grant program around 200,000. I also heard a proposal to increase the individual threshold to 50, understanding that there's going to be justification required. I'm also hearing some support for, I think all support, not sure, for the additional dollars for fire and police. And just to underscore that I was looking at an additional 500 for the additional 40 staff. So with that, is anyone ready for a motion on this, or is there further discussion we'd like to have?
Well, if you, just the way you laid it out, Madam Mayor, I would be happy to make a motion to allocate it in that way.
So the motion on the table is to increase the nonprofit grant program to $200,000 and to increase the threshold to $50,000, understanding that justification will have to be made for each proposal that's submitted or application submitted. And for premium pay eligible employees to approve the $2,000 per employee, additional $500 for the fire and police, and to include city manager. Sorry, I didn't add that in there. With that friendly amendment? Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Goss.
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst. Do we have further discussion on this? Do we have additional direction that we need to provide staff, given this new motion? Or I should say, this motion, based on something that's different from the report?
No additional direction. We'll make those changes to the resolution.
Great, thank you. So with that, we have a first and a second on the table. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Great, that looks like that passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda, City Attorney Garagosian for consideration of City Manager Employment Agreement for Jose Reynoso.
Thank you, Mayor. In July 2021, City Manager Gabriel England resigned as City Manager. On July 13th, 2021, the City Council appointed Jose Reynoso to serve as interim City Manager while the City recruited a replacement. On November 2, 2021, the City Council met in closed session to evaluate the candidates, and the Mayor then directed the City Attorney to draft an employment agreement for Jose Reynoso for the City Council's consideration. Before you is the employment agreement for the City Council's consideration, and if I could make one amendment to the employment agreement, and this amendment has been agreed to by the City Manager, we'd like to, in section 11, we'd like to strike the first sentence of the third paragraph that begins with the line, during the first 30 days of employment. So that language will be struck. And that second sentence, instead of saying 6 months after employee service, shall read 1 year after employee service. And with those amendments, I leave it to the council for their consideration of the remaining terms.
Thank you, City Attorney Garagosian. Do we have any questions at this time?
Did we, just to clarify, in section 11, paragraph 3, did we strike the section on the 30 days of employment? That's what you struck that one, right?
Correct. That entire first sentence has been struck. And the second sentence will now read, employee shall initiate and schedule an initial performance evaluation to take place 1 year after employee services for the city begins.
Did you have any other questions, Councilmember Parkhurst?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I'm done.
Any other questions? Okay, if none, we will open this item up for public comment. If you would like to comment on the consideration of City Manager Employment Agreement for Jose Reynoso, please make your way to the podium. And seeing none, we'll bring it back for discussion to the council. And/or a motion.
I'm very happy that Jose has agreed to the contract and is continuing to serve us in this new capacity. So thank you for that. Thank you for working with us, and thank you for your leadership.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Absolutely. Well said. I hear.
And thank you for maintaining your certifications for us. That's much needed, so thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, do we have an motion to approve the agreement with the amendments as presented by the City Attorney?
I move to approve as amended with the recommendations of amendments per the city attorney.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously, and now you are a regular city manager, no longer interim or acting. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, so for those of you that have attended city or reorganization meetings in the past, we typically don't have agenda items this full of an agenda. So I'm really happy that we're at the end of our agenda, and we have presentations to Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss for his service to the city of Sierra Madre. For those of you that don't know, every Mayor Pro Tem, every mayor goes out with a plaque with a gavel. And if any of you have noticed, we really don't use our gavel, so it'll be interesting to see who the first person will be, if and when. And then once upon a time, these were half gavels, but now we've moved to full small gavels as opposed to larger gavels that are full. But I really just want to thank Mayor Pro Tem. This is our 7th year working together as fellow council members. And we worked in reverse last time. He was mayor first and I was Mayor Pro Tem, and this time went mayor and then Mayor Pro Tem. But it really, I've learned so much working with him on the council, and truly someone that is committed to his work. His messaging and his areas of focus have remained the same, whether it's about the financial responsibilities of our city, about private property rights and ensuring that that happens, and really listening to the voice of the people. I just want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Goss for his service, and I look forward to continue serving one more year with you.
One more year.
But again, I appreciate what you have done, and thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss. Is Tevin here somewhere? Yay, Tevin! Can we do a quick photo, please? I'm gonna move that.
I don't want to be in it.
With our masks on, smiling.
I'm smiling.
1, 2, 3. Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to see if any of my fellow council members have anything that they want to share. And Mr. Gordon, I said that I wasn't going to open this up for public comment, but you know, for Mayor Pro Tem Goss, I want to open that up for public comment to see if anyone else would like to share anything, or if there are any other presentations.
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Creeps.
I actually met Gene. He actually reached out to me when I was running for council, and we met, and I have to say that I really value his steadiness and just very consistent. I think I feel like in this year that we've worked together, I have a sense of your position on things, and you're very true to them and very consistent, and I really appreciate that. It's a really sort of creates kind of a nice bedrock for our council. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Councilmember Garcia.
Yes, yeah, I got to know Mayor Pro Tem Goss during my time on the UUT Oversight Committee and the Special Finance Committee, and since then I'd say we've become friends, and I appreciate your mentorship for me as a new council member, and your bedrock steadiness. You are a man of few words, but when you speak, people listen, and I appreciate that. I speak a little too much sometimes. I could take a page out of your book. So, thank you for the guiding principles you've provided for me personally.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Very much.
And I have really appreciated the way you frame things at council. It's something that I would like to try to emulate. I've got a long ways to go. But really appreciate that when you bring a thought forward, it is very well articulated and supportive of the community. And I look forward to working with you for another year on the council and helping us to continue going forward. And the final thing is, I think this is true, but I think that we have you to thank that advocated for the zero-based budgeting. And that may be a really wonky thing, but I'm going to go there. I think it really helps us with our fiscal discipline in the city, and it got us out of a really tough time in the past and has set us up so well for the future. So thank you for your leadership on that in particular.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it very much.
Great. Anyone else like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring this to the next item, which is weird to say presentation to myself, but presentation to myself, so.
Well, this is my turn, so, yeah. So what is there to say about Mayor Erismendi? I had a chance to speak about her at the State of the City a couple weekends ago, and it was an opportunity to kind of think about, you know, some of the things we've been through together, and then to think about just this last year. And one of the first things that came to my mind was how she was actually brought onto council last December. We were doing it via Zoom. Remember that? Our mayor started out being mayor of this city by doing Zoom meetings, by not being able to do interpersonal work with people. What a challenge. And then when we finally got to see each other interpersonally, it was out in the park, or early in the spring when it was frigid. We were freezing out there in those night meetings. And we actually got rained on once. We just got soaked once. Yeah. Then later in the spring, before we moved in here, we all sweated it out in 90-degree temperatures. And Mr. Gordon's absolutely right. She was unflappable. She kept those meetings going. She kept us organized, on task. I don't know if I could have done that as well. I think she just did a fantastic job. And on top of that, she somehow finds time in her personal life, her schedule, to get out and interact with so many different people and groups in this community. It's just an amazing. I don't know where you have the energy, but I'm just completely blown away by it, Rochelle.
Thank you.
Aside from that, you're always kind to people. You've got a great smile. You're a great leader, and I'm really, really thankful to you. And I think I speak for the city when we are really fortunate to have you on the council. So I'm going to give you this plaque, and this is an actual full size.
The big gavel.
The big size, the large gavel. And I can just tell you that she's done this before. She was mayor once before, and she got the gavel. Now she's got 2 gavels. Yay. And as far as I'm concerned,
that we don't use.
She should come back for a 3rd term and run for get a 3rd gavel. But you know, we'll see about that, right? But here you are.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's take a photo.
Okay.
Thank you. And then you have Declan from Portantino's office
Right.
here, and then
I'm going to go up there.
Okay.
So when our mayor is honored, it's not just by our city and our city council. We also have representatives from other agencies here and other elected representatives. And I wanted to just share this first. Could you please come up, Mayor? I just wanted to share this with her first. This was sent to us today by the County of Los Angeles Supervisor Catherine Barger, and I'd like to read it and then present it to the mayor. County of Los Angeles commendation for Rachel Erismendi, outgoing mayor, Sierra Madre City Council, in recognition of dedicated service to the affairs of the community and for the civic pride demonstrated by numerous contributions for the benefit of all the residents of Los Angeles County. December 14th, 2021, signed by Catherine Barger. Very congratulations. And who else is coming up? I think the representative from...
We'll let the senator's
okay.
office go first.
Senator Portantino's office.
Hi, I'm Declan Floyd from Senator Portantino's office. Madam Mayor, when you stepped into this role, we were in the darkest time of the pandemic here in Southern California. We were the epicenter of this nation's outbreak. Cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were through the roof. The economy was in the tank. Nothing was going right. And you stepped in and you led this city out of that into a brighter day where this city really has never been stronger. You worked with local businesses. You saved our restaurants and our shops. And you encouraged neighbors to take care of one another. And that really embodies the spirit of Sierra Madre. The whole community was looking out for each other, and that was under your leadership. We also had things like the opening of the new Kirsten Court, the new well that's being done with the city of Arcadia. You have led this city out of a dark time into a place where we are set up now for decades to come, all while running a $2.5 million budget surplus, which is absolutely outstanding. So on behalf of Senator Anthony Portantino and the entire California State Senate, I'm honored to present you with this certificate, thanking you for your service as mayor, and we look forward to working with you for years to come.
Are you moving into the picture or out of the picture?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, and residents of Sierra Madre. My name is Hector Rodriguez, and I'm here on behalf of Assemblymember Chris Holden, here to recognize the wonderful leadership that Mayor Erismendi has provided throughout the entire difficulties of the past year navigating the pandemic. We really want to congratulate you on your term as mayor, but more so, we really want to also highlight your footprint throughout the API community, and as well as your mentorship with young women, empowering them as they navigate through their own professional lives. So on behalf of Assemblymember Chris Holden and the 41st Assembly District, we'd like to honor you with the certificate of recognition for your term as mayor. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor and Council, I want to represent the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to thank you so much for your assistance, for your wonderful attitude, for your smile, your support. And you're going to be missed as a mayor, but we know you in town, and we thank you for all your support, and we wish you all the best. And thank you so much for your endless tired hours. I know this is not easy. You've been amazing to us, and we want to thank you. And this is from us as a small way to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's take a photo.
Yeah, right here.
That your way? So thank you to the Assemblymember Holden, to Supervisor Barger, to Senator Portantino, and to my colleague Mayor Pro Tem Goss. I think my husband's out there too. A special thanks to him. This is can be very challenging on the spouses, and so I appreciate your patience and love throughout this entire process, because this 7 years can be quite trying. So thank you, husband, Billy. And I'll just quickly say, it truly has been an honor to serve not just once, but twice in this position. So I just want to thank the residents for all their support and thank the staff for everything. You know, listening to people talk about under my leadership, and I appreciate that, but we all know this is not just about the mayor. It's more administrative and ceremonial. This is really about our council, our staff, and our residents. So thank you all so much. Okay, so now
Mayor, may I just take a quick second?
Sure, please, Councilor Parker.
As I've come into this role, and as I've gone around and talked with and met people, especially at the Cal Cities Conference, you go up and you tell someone you're from Sierra Madre, and they go, "Oh, do you know Mayor Erismendi?" For a city of 11,000 people, you raise our profile so much higher in everything you do. There is so much you contribute to our community, to our state, and you help make us, it put us more on the map. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Councilmember Parkhurst.
May I make a public comment about you?
Is it related to this item, Mr. Tom Aarons?
It's related to your change and so forth. I just
Come on up to the podium.
feel strongly about it. You have been a caring person. 2 Saturdays ago, Taylor's Meat Market, she was there expressing her condolences to Kevin Taylor at the loss of their father. It's the first time I've ever seen a politician do anything that kind in public and so forth. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tom. And we did speak a little city business too, so you had some time to speak to me about that. Thank you. Okay, so for our next item, we have the selection of mayor and mayor pro tem for December 14, 2021 to December 13, 2022. And it would be my honor to make the motion to select Mayor Pro Tem Jean Goss as our new mayor and Councilmember Edward Garcia as our new Mayor Pro Tem. Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Creeves. Do we have any further discussion on that first and second, the motion on the table? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mayor Jean Goss and Mayor Pro Tem Edward Garcia, and we'll do the changing of the seats,
And I think we have to take our oath of office, too.
and we will do our oath of office. Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Works. All my junk. Are you gonna do it at the podium?
Want to do it up there?
Yeah, do it at the podium. Do you need this?
No, you have the actual oath up with you. Okay. Glasses handy. Yeah.
Put us somewhere.
Would you read it first and I'll read it?
Both be at the end. That's not a good look.
Mayor Jean Goss, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jean Goss, do solemnly swear
I, Jean Goss, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter, so help me God.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And now for Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Edward Garcia, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Edward Garcia, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I, Edward Garcia, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation of purpose or evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties about which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Edward Garcia.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up. We kind of got a little bit awake maybe a couple mayors ago from actually doing, to end meetings, kind of a formal motion for adjournment. So I'd kind of like to do that from here on out, taking a motion, a second, and a vote. Before we do that, I'd like to see if anyone has any ideas for agenda items in the future.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to bring forth discussion on the wisteria vine and how we can protect it. As the young woman stated earlier tonight, it's clear to me that we don't have any ordinance to it, and it's here on our pins, it's on our logos. I think we should have a staff report on options for us.
I think staff got that. Good. Any other ideas for agendized items? Going once, going twice, sold with one bid. Okay, is there a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are done for the meeting. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I understand there will be cake outside, so you're all welcome to join us.